Safety isn't expensive, it is priceless. Again with the same quotation, we are continuing with animal tissue. Did you ever wonder why you can move your hands, or what makes the blood to circulate throughout your body, or what passes the food from one organ to another organ of your digestive system? That is because of muscular tissue. So let us understand about it. The cells of the muscular tissue are contractile, means they can perform contractions and relaxation in order to move any organ of our body. They can get excited and conduct the transmissions. These muscular tissues are made up of special type of proteins called as contractile proteins. These contractile proteins are actin and myosin. Muscular tissue helps us for locomotion and movement. Locomotion means moving from one place to another. They are composed of large number of proteinaceous threads called myofibrils. The cells of muscular tissue have contractile cytoplasm, that is known as sarcoplasm, and each muscle fiber is covered with a covering called as sarcolemma. Based on the appearance under the microscope, the muscular tissue can be classified into two groups, striated and unstriated. The striated one is having alternative dark and light bands, just like zebra, and unstriated do not have dark and light bands alternatively. Striated muscles are further classified into two groups based on their nature. If they are not controlled by brain, then they are termed as involuntary, and if they are controlled by brain, then they are termed as voluntary. The skeletal muscles which help us to move are voluntary, and the cardiac muscles that are present in the heart and help us to pump the blood throughout the body are involuntary. So now let's study striated and unstriated muscles in detail. Let us begin with unstriated or smooth muscles. These muscles are spindle shaped, having pointed ends. They are unstriated, uninucleated, means having one nucleus. Involuntary muscles means they cannot be controlled directly by brain, and they are non-skeletal muscles which are arranged in layers. These muscles will not get fatigued, and they help for involuntary movements like peristalsis, that is movement of digestive system to push the food from one organ to another. Moving forward with striated muscles, the cardiac muscles are involuntary striated muscles, means they are not controlled by brain. They are performing rhythmic contractions and relaxations without getting fatigued. They are branched and multinucleated muscles that are found in myocardium of heart. Myocardiums are muscles of the heart which help for rhythmic contractions and relaxation to pump the blood throughout the body. The another type of the striated muscles are skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are voluntary. It means they can be controlled as per our wish. These muscles are unbranched, multinucleated, cylindrical in shape, and they are arranged in bundles which are known as fasciculi. These muscles help us for locomotion, means to move from one place to another, and they can get fatigue. So this was all about muscular tissue. Now we are going to start with the next type of the tissue, that is epithelial tissue. The word epi means above. This tissue lies above the entire body, forming a protective covering. Internally, it also helps in separation of organs and forms inner linings of visceral organs. This tissue mainly helps for covering. So, between the cells, there will be very little or no intercellular spaces. Very little amount of matrix is present between the cells. These cells are derived from three germinal layers: endoderm, mesoderm and ectoderm. These layers are formed at the time of embryogenesis, when a zygote is converted into embryo, and ultimately it will be developed as a fetus. As epithelial tissue help for protection, the cells have to face wear and tear. In order to meet up that wear and tear, the cells are having power of regeneration throughout the life. The cells of lowermost layer rest on extracellular fibrous basement membrane. This basement membrane separates the epithelial tissue from underlying tissues. Epithelial tissue can be classified into three different categories based on the shape of the cells. If the cells are flat, then they are termed as squamous. If they are cube-like, then they are termed as cuboidal, and if they are elongated, then they are termed as columnar. Cells of epithelia are also lying in different number of layers. If there is a single layer of the cells, then they are termed as simple epithelial tissue, and if there are multiple layers stacked on one another, then it is termed as stratified epithelial tissue. Now let's have a glance at simple epithelial tissues first. Epithelial tissues are termed based on their shape and number of layers of the cells present in the structure. See, for example, here the first type is simple squamous epithelium. Simple denotes single layer of the cell, squamous denotes flat cells. These cells are usually found in air sacs of lungs and the linings of the heart, blood vessels and lymphatic vessels. Simple squamous epithelial tissue helps for diffusion of the materials across its cells. It is present in the kidneys, where it helps in the process of filtration of the blood, and it also helps in the secretion of mucus, which is a lubricating substance. Simple cuboidal epithelial tissue is located in the ducts and secretory portions of the small glands and in the kidney tubules, and the functions of it are secretion and absorption of the materials. Simple columnar epithelial tissue is located in bronchi. Bronchi is the branch of trachea, that is windpipe, and it is also located in uterine tubes, uterus and digestive tract. The functions of simple columnar epithelium are absorption and secretion. It mainly secretes mucus and enzymes. When the cells are lying in multiple layers, means they are stacked on one another and forms multiple layers, then it is termed as stratified tissue. So let's have a glance at various types of stratified epithelial tissue. The first is stratified squamous epithelium. It lies in the lines of esophagus, mouth and vagina and helps for protection. The next type is stratified cuboidal epithelium. It is present in the sweat glands, salivary glands and mammary glands. This type is also known as glandular epithelial tissue. Glands are the secretory parts of our body which produces different materials like enzymes, digestive juices, mucus, etc. And the function of stratified cuboidal epithelium is protection. Stratified columnar epithelial tissue is present in male urethra and ducts of some glands, and the function is protection and secretion. Based on the characteristics of the cells found, epithelial tissues are also having two more types, that is pseudostratified columnar epithelium and transitional epithelium. Pseudo means false, stratified means staked on one another, or we can say there are multiple layers of the cells. Here the columnar epithelium is having such a structure that it resembles like stratified tissue. That's why it is termed as pseudostratified columnar epithelium. It is found in trachea and upper part of the respiratory tract, and it helps in secretion of mucus. The next type is transitional epithelium. Here the cells can transit from squamous to cuboidal or to cuboidal to columnar. It means it provides stretchability to the organs, and it is found in the bladder, urethra and ureters. It helps the urinary organs to expand and stretch whenever it is needed. Sometimes the epithelial tissues are named based on certain characteristics like cilia. Here the columnar cells are having cilia, so they are termed as ciliated columnar. And if cuboidal epithelium is forming secretory units, then it is known as glandular epithelium. So this was all about epithelial tissue. Now we are going to start with connective tissue. Connective tissues are classified into three groups: loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue and specialized connective tissue. In loose connective tissue, as the name suggests, the cells are loosely packed. In dense connective tissue, the cells are densely packed or compactly arranged. Let's have a look after each of them in detail. The first is loose connective tissue. Here, cells and fibers are loosely arranged in semi-fluid substance. This tissue is distributed all over the body and support the tissues and organs from strains and displacement. For example, areolar and adipose tissues. Areolar tissue. This tissue is present beneath the skin, and it serves as support framework for epithelial tissue. If you remember, there was a basement membrane in epithelial tissue. So areolar tissue is forming that basement membrane. It contains fibroblasts, macrophages and mast cells in the structure. Another type of loose connective tissue is adipose tissue. This tissue is also located beneath the skin. The cells of the tissue are specialized to store fats. Excess of nutrients are converted into fats, and these cells are having large storing facilities. They can store large amount of the fat for the time of starvation when the body needs energy. Now we are going to discuss about dense connective tissues in detail. In dense connective tissue, collagen fibers appear abundantly in the form of bundles, and they are arranged regularly or irregularly between the cells. Dense connective tissue can further be classified into two categories, that is, dense regular connective tissue and dense irregular connective tissue. In dense regular connective tissue, the collagen fibers are arranged in rows regularly. The examples are tendon, white collagen fiber that connects muscles to bone and ligament, yellow collagen fiber that connects two bones with each other. Dense irregular connective tissue contains fibroblast and many fibers, mainly collagen, present in the skin. Next is specialized connective tissue. Cartilage, bone and blood are specialized connective tissues. Cartilage is formed of chondrocytes. Chondrocytes are special type of cells. Cartilage can further be classified into four types: hyaline, elastic, calcified and fibrous. It is found in ears. Bones are hard skeletal tissue which are made up of cells, fibers and matrix. Bone marrow produces RBC, WBC, etc. And bones are protecting vital parts of our body such as lungs and heart. They are composed of calcium phosphate. The blood is also known as fluid connective tissue. It comprises of RBCs, WBCs, platelets and blood plasma. Blood plasma is the fluid part of the blood that provides fluidity to the blood. RBCs or red blood cells are also known as erythrocytes, which help in transportation of oxygen. It has hemoglobin in its center. WBCs are called as soldiers of our body as they protect us from various kinds of pathogen, and platelets help in blood clotting at the time of injuries and protect blood loss.